You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio on ESPN Radio 1700. Now, live in studio, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family, your business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Before we get into our intriguing content this morning, please join me in welcoming our featured guests. Kari Walker from the Alzheimer's Association. Welcome.
Good morning.
Glad to have you with us. Scott Rosa, Hot Properties, Real Estate and Property Management. Good morning.
Good morning.
Glad to have you with us as well. Let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Well, I gotta tell you.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
I was the one that shared with you almost 2 months ago. I should have pulled out the recording. I should have pulled out the date to let you know almost 2 months ago when I told you, I was probably one of the first, the markets were saying the Federal Reserve was going to increase their discount rate. And 2 months ago, when it was about 60%, 70% on the futures rate, saying that they were not going to increase the rate, I was saying that they were going to increase the rate. I was going to tell you they are not increasing the rates. And yesterday, they did not increase the rates. And I'm going to tell you because Janet Yellen gave you some bum information yesterday.
So I know whose ass to kick.
She said they're still looking at increasing the interest rates this year. No, they won't. There will not be an increase in the Fed funds rate this year. Again, it's my opinion. They don't listen to me. Well, maybe Miss Yellen's listening to the report and she'll be upset when she hears this, but they are not going to increase interest rates. I've shared with you why they're not going to increase interest rates. She even came up with some of the same talking points when she spoke yesterday, but she's just trying to talk the economy into a better position than it really is. Yeah, I know the rich are getting richer, but the rest of us, we're not. And that's the biggest problem. I saw another commentary this morning about how we are not doing well, the middle class not doing well in this country. Yeah, the policies of the administration are generating more and more wealth for the hedge fund managers. Did you see the one hedge fund manager? I just saw the report yesterday. When the stock market went down almost 1,100 points at the open a couple weeks ago, that one day he made $1 billion in a day. Now, and that was stocks. When they talk about hedge funds, that's money that they've bought and sold, so it's cash. It's not like when a CEO, a Warren Buffett or a Bill Gates or Tim Cook, it's not like when their stock goes up 5 points or 10 points and they've got enough stock to make it a paper win. His was a cash win, $1 billion in one day. Well, it's because he understands the market. And if you don't understand the market, my suggestion to you is hire somebody to do it for you that does understand it. They're in there working for 14, 15, 16 hours a day so they can understand it. And when you look at E-Trade and Schwab and TD Ameritrade and all these online brokers, I'm going to share with you exactly what they are. It's like going to Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. It's strictly gambling. Because if you're not spending that same 10, 12, 15 hours a day studying like they are, you're just hoping that what you think is going to happen will happen. It's a gamble. I suggest to you, whatever you do, if you're a real estate broker, if you're a banker, if you're an engineer, Do you think I could do what you do in a half hour a day? In my spare time, could I be as good as you are? Absolutely not. Doesn't make sense. Why do you think you can be as good as a hedge fund manager if you're doing it in your spare time and he's working full time? It just doesn't make sense.
You know better than that.
Right, you know better than that. So give your money to somebody who understands it and don't get into this hogwash. Think about this one. Do you know what a hedge fund manager makes? Now, I hear people all the time saying, I don't want to use a mutual fund because they're going to charge me a 1% or 2% management fee. Or I don't want to use a private money manager because they might charge me 2% management fee. Do you know what a hedge fund manager makes? 20%. 20. So now if you can give a big company, CalPERS just said that they're going to give 20% of their portfolio to a hedge fund. You get the ultra wealthy of America give their money to a hedge fund, and they don't mind paying 20% because it's a percentage of what is made for them. It's not a big issue. Don't worry about what somebody else makes. Worry about what you make. Who cares if he makes 20% if you're making $1 billion in a day? Think about it. It's the same thing I share with you on a regular basis. You can go online and go to Zillow, and they'll tell you almost everything there is. Maybe it's outdated, but they'll tell you everything you want to know about a piece of property because you want to save money and not pay a real estate professional a commission. It's stupid. And I call it like it is. I don't soft soap it. I don't say, well, you shouldn't do that, guys. No, it's stupid. You're being stupid. The owner, the founder of ForSaleByOwner.com, when he listed his apartment in New York City, guess what? Do you think he sold it on his own? No, he called a real estate professional to do it because he knew what I'm telling you. You need professional guidance. In the markets, you need professional guidance. Go back to what I was saying at the very beginning. I've studied these things for many, many years. Start every day at 4 o'clock in the morning. You want to call me? Fine. Well, my wife might not be too happy if you do, but call me at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's when we start studying for the radio broadcast. That's how I know that I can tell you right now, as of today, that the national price of gasoline is 2.301, down 0.7 of a cent from yesterday. It's because you start studying. The price of gasoline, average price in California, 3.806. That's why I call it the state of confusion. We're paying 80 cents a gallon more than the rest of the country. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I think that the oil that comes in from other parts of the world, they might use a Port of Long Beach. That's where most things come in. But we get to pay more money, right? Makes a lot of sense. I'll get off that soapbox. Nobody's going to work. We've got the lowest labor participation rate in the history of our country. So when you hear people say we've got a 5.1% unemployment number, hogwash. It's because people gave up. Do you know the definition of getting a new job? I mean, we came out with this wonderful jobs report. Everyone said, oh, it's great. We got 173,000 new jobs. 30,000 of them were government employees. Question is, and like my son, he's got 3 of those jobs, so it's 170,000 less his 3, right? 1 hour of work for pay during the month, that's considered a new job. 1 hour of work for pay, that's a new job. Look at the U6 number. It comes out of the same Bureau of Labor Statistics as the U3 number that says our unemployment is at 5.1%. U6, that's those people that are unemployed or underemployed. 10.3%. 10.3. That's why we've got 37% of our population gave up looking for a job. You think that the Federal Reserve is going to raise rates with that going on? Retail sales down, housing down, all of these different areas. The Federal Reserve is not going to raise rates. We've got all these different numbers going the wrong way, and people say, oh, the Federal Reserve is going to raise rates. Why? So we can go into another recession? And then this year, I'll even come out with one. We ought to mark this date down. What day is today? Today is September 18th. Mark that down. We won't raise rates next year either. Ready for that? We will not raise rates next year. Why aren't we going to raise rates next year? It's an election year. Do you really think they want to raise rates and look at heck, look what happened to George W. Bush. The economy tanked in the last 3 months of his administration. And did anybody talk about the fact that we got our chests back in front of us after 9/11, whether you like the war or not, we had better sentiment. But when the economy tanked in the last 3 months of his administration, nobody talked about all those things. They talked about where's the economy. And they thought some guy out of Chicago who never ran anything in his life could save it. Really? Well, how's that working out for you? They won't raise rates next year either. I'm going to get off my soapbox. If you want to know more about this, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. If you want to meet one of the great real estate agents that I've talked about, that I know anywhere in the sound of my voice. I don't want to sound like Donald Trump. I'm not that smart, right? But I know these people, or I can put you in touch with them. All you have to do is give me a call at 800-306-1990. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, we will talk about Alzheimer's. We will talk about real estate. We will talk about why you should stop renting. And you can reach me anytime. Off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter, @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We will be back in just a few.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed-rate loan below 4.25% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $295,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,400 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694552.
Southern California attorneys have over 15,000 real estate agents to call in Orange County for their personal and professional needs. Why do they overwhelmingly call Melinda Johnson? Simple. It's the Melinda Johnson trifecta. Melinda is an attorney, real estate broker, and realtor. Does your family deserve the same professional services California lawyers demand? Call Melinda Johnson at 714-863-5485. That's 714-863-5485. Or on the web at freedomfirstproperties.com.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission, lending partners will give a credit at closing, the title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Your Credit Matters segment today brought to you by An Evening to Remember, Solutions for Change. It's going to be a great event tomorrow night. If you haven't got your tickets, there are still a few available. It's at that Carlsbad or McClellan-Carlsbad Airport on Palomar's. I don't know, whatever it is down there. Go to solutionsforchange.org, an evening to remember. Great cause, great organization. The money is all going to the beneficiaries because the event is completely underwritten. How about that one? You got to love that idea. So the question we have here is, what is the truth about credit scores? Is there a good logical reason as to what's going on in the credit market when you're thinking about buying a house? Well, here's the idea. When we talk to most people, or the surveys say, when I don't talk to them, it's most people, especially millennials, they think you have to have great credit in order to buy a house. They define great credit as 780 or above. But what are the facts? Well, the facts are the average FHA loan. I should figure out who the heck it is that did this survey. Ellie Mae. Okay, they came out with this, and they're basically the loan origination software that a majority of lenders use. So if you're getting an FHA loan, average score 689. Veterans, average score 708. Conventional, average score 756. Put them all together, you get a 724 average for those people that closed loans in February. It's gotten a little bit easier since, actually that's through August. They started this January, they looked all the way through August of the current year. So 724 is average. Now there are programs that I can tell you about, show you that go down to 500. Not something that I would really recommend. If you've got a 500 FICO score, we got a better game plan. We need to help you with some debt management services before we deal with buying a house. But I want you to have the house anyway. Average interest rate, closed loans. Think about this one. Average 4.313 was in the month of August. The average FHA 4.268, VA 4.126, conventional 4.384. Interest rates are low. Average down payments 4% on FHA, conventional 20%, veterans 2%. Get out there and buy a house. We're going to talk a little bit later in the broadcast about buying versus renting. You know my opinion about renting. If you want to pay somebody else's mortgage, call me. You can pay mine. Very, very simple. But other than that, get out and buy your own house, and we're going to show you how to do it. It's a game plan. That is the Your Credit Matters segment, again, brought to you by Solutions for Change, an evening to remember with our American heroes. Taya Kyle, the widow of American sniper Chris Kyle, will be the keynote speaker this year. Great event. I'm going to chat now. Kari Walker's back in the house with us, Alzheimer's Association. Welcome.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you with us. You've got an event coming up pretty soon as well.
Do we ever? Very excited about it.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, on Friday, October 2nd, we have world-renowned speakers, about researchers coming together to talk about healthy brain aging. For the first time, we're moving toward being able to say, keeping a healthy brain will not only possibly reduce our risk of getting Alzheimer's, but probably. And anybody with any questions is welcome to come and have direct access to leading researchers and get their questions answered. October 2nd, Friday from 7 to 5 at the Irvine Marriott.
And I would highly recommend, I've shared this before, Kari. My dad died about a year and a half ago. And all they ever really said is cognitive issues or mild cognitive impairment.
Right.
And to me, one doctor said Alzheimer's, one doctor said Lewy body disease, one doctor said MCI. All we knew is that he didn't know exactly who we were, where we were, and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And what I really learned going through that process, because it's a long-term process, it's not something that is overnight, in our case at least, was the ability of having somebody to talk to.
Absolutely.
Was so important because we could understand what he was going through, or somewhat, because they told us anyway, I don't know if this has changed in a year and a half, that they really can't tell you what the disease is without an autopsy.
We're moving toward being able to be about 95% sure that it is Alzheimer's disease with the new diagnostic criteria that came out in 2011. But it is a step-by-step process of elimination, which largely does involve the families, because families are going to notice if something's really different in that person. But getting back, I wanted to make a quick point about what you said about connecting with other people. I can tell you that there's 84,000 other families in Orange County that are affected by this disease.
84,000.
Probably a low estimate.
Right. Those are the ones that have identified themselves.
Right. And I can tell you that with the hope that that's going to make you feel that you're not alone and maybe takes some of that'll help you. That information will help you. But it really doesn't do anything for you. But what will make a difference and feel a lot different is if you come into a room with other families that are experiencing the same thing as you, and you hear their stories and you're like, oh, wow, you too? Really? And you can actually look across the table and identify with someone that looks very similar to you. It allows you to take a deep breath and say, okay, I think I can take in some information right now.
That's a great point. I mean, and I must admit, when I did that, it made me feel better. It gave me some strategies as to how to maintain what semblance with our relationship and what I might look forward to. And maybe from my standpoint, I don't know how well it did for my dad because he couldn't articulate as well as he did before, but it gave us a better sense of knowing where we were going, continuing our relationship, and some strategies to work on that I hope made him feel better as well. Absolutely.
What we fail to remember is caregiving is a role. So often we view it just as the relationship. I have to do this. There's a lot of guilt and shoulds and I think. And what we have to remember, though, this is actually similar to any other skill, even parenting for the first time. If you've never had children, there's resources to learn how to do it. And I should say I'm not infantilizing older adults at all. But in caregiving, if you've never done it, how can you be good?
Sure.
And when you meet other people who can share resources that's relevant to you, then you can move forward rather than just picking up a dry, objective source of information.
You're so accurate. The gentleman that he actually had gone through it with his dad 2 years before me, and some of the strategies, just instead of being confrontational with my dad, saying, Dad, there is nobody sitting out there on the slope, where you could say, I understand that's what you see, Dad, but let's watch a ball game together.
And go into their reality and realize that if they were truly aware of what they were saying, in a lot of cases, they'd be mortified.
Right.
They're used to being in control and not having to rely on anybody else. So we need to not make them feel uncomfortable. A person with Alzheimer's really lives in a state of confusion constantly. Can you imagine living in a state of confusion? How many times if you found yourself lost in an unfamiliar area driving around, how do you feel?
Sure.
It's a terrible feeling. You get a little anxious, you might be a little short-tempered. Well, this is how someone with Alzheimer's disease often feels their entire day because they're not able to make sense of where they're at or what's happening. So the more that we can be that hand that goes in and says, you know what, Dad, it's okay. I'm going to be here for you. Let's go for that walk.
What's the difference between, Alzheimer's seems like it's a catch-all, right? Nobody really knows MCI. Nobody really knows Lewy body. We hear dementia, but some people just say, oh, he's got Alzheimer's. Is that an accurate terminology, or what is the correct?
It's a great question you're bringing up because there's so much more involved. Dementia is not a diagnosis in and of itself. It refers to a collection of symptoms, including memory loss, but also confusion, problems with judgment, visual spatial relationships. But there's a lot of things, over 70 different types of things that can cause that, and Alzheimer's is one of those. But the reason we hear so much about Alzheimer's disease is Alzheimer's is the most common form of dementia, of the dementias, accounting for about 70% of the cases.
Wow.
So maybe a good way to explain it is all Alzheimer's is dementia, but not all dementia is Alzheimer's disease. Could be caused by a lot of other things.
So I guess when you're talking about over 70%, you can see why they become almost a synonym for one another.
Right.
Right. Kleenex and tissue. Right. It's very similar. They're not same thought process. You can see how simple a guy I am. Right. It just becomes a simple thing. But I did notice though in the debate the other night, I think it was Dr. Carson that brought up the idea of, instead of treating Alzheimer's, let's get out and spend some money on curing it. Right? Alzheimer's, diabetes, heart disease. There was a fourth one that he mentioned, and I don't recall what it was, but Boy, wouldn't that be a great thing to do as well?
Looking at more of the preventative side. And really, if you look at all the other top diseases, it wasn't too long ago that we had no idea how to stop them or prevent them either. But through a lot of money allocated to research and clinical trials, we've moved beyond that.
Certainly be great. I'm looking right here online, October 2nd, 7 a.m., 5 p.m., Irvine Marriott Hotel. Healthy brain aging will be the topic. If you want more information, we're going to ask Kari to have somebody post that right there, Ron Siegel Radio on Facebook, or you can just give me a call and I'd be happy to get you the information as well. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, why you should stop renting and buy today. There are several specific reasons. We are going to talk to Scott Rosa about that. We're going to continue our conversation with Kari Walker. We're on the Alzheimer's Association. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter, @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We will be back in just a few.
In the middle of our streets, our house.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel lending team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel lending team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel lending team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990, or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
Did you know that banks and credit bureaus are rewarded financially if you have bad credit? And the worse your credit score is, the more money they can make off of you? How does that make you feel, knowing that banks are getting rich off of your hard-earned money? How does it make you feel, knowing that if a bank or a credit bureau makes a mistake on your credit report, they benefit from it and it hurts you? The Fair Credit Report Act of 1971 requires banks and credit bureaus to report only accurate information, and nearly 100% of all credit reports are inaccurate. If you're sick and tired of being broke and tired of being robbed by the banks, you owe it to yourself and to your family to call Rondi. Rondi is a FICO-certified credit professional and has helped thousands of people just like you get out of debt and establish great credit. Rondi's number is 855-608-1990. Again, that's 855-608-1990. Or visit creditsanitizer.com. Again, that website is creditsanitizer.com.
I love Solutions for Change. They're dedicated to solving family homelessness, one family, one community at a time. They do beautiful work, truly changing lives. They're a big event of the year. It's the 5th annual gala, an evening to remember with our American heroes, Saturday, September 19th in the Jet Source hangar at the Carlsbad Airport. It's going to be awesome. Taya Kyle, author and widow of Chris Kyle from American Sniper, is going to be the main speaker. Joining Taya will be Navy SEAL and former pro football player Clint Bruce, and I have the honor of attending the festivities as well. Jeffrey Strauss from Pamplemousse Grill will be catering the evening. There's going to be a hosted craft cocktail reception, live entertainment, silent and live auction, all to raise money for Solutions for Change. Tickets are available. Please grab them as soon as possible. I'd love to see you there. 760-941-6545. That's 760-941-6545 or solutionsforchange.org.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio anytime. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today brought to you by the VIP Hero Program. VIPHeroProgram.com is where you can get the information to see if you qualify. Huge amount of people do qualify: military, law enforcement, firefighters, healthcare professionals, first responders, teachers. $5,000 to $10,000 in rebates from the real estate professionals, lending partners, attorneys give some money there too. It's kind of a surprise, but attorneys. There's no. You guys aren't attorneys in the studio this morning, are you? Good, we're okay, so I can say that. And even the escrow and title companies, they can't give you a discount. It's illegal for them to say that, but they have published rates for our heroes that are lower than the rates they give to other people. But there's not a discount. Can't say that, it's illegal. That's the VIP Hero Program. Why you should stop renting and buy today. There's a lot of information out there on that. Let's share a little bit of it with you. Housing cost and net worth. Whether you rent or buy, you have a monthly housing cost. Very, very simple. As a buyer, you're paying your mortgage. If you're renting, you're paying somebody else's mortgage. Pretty simple. Every mortgage payment is a form of what Harvard University's Joint Center for Housing Study calls forced savings. We don't save in America. That's forced savings. Here's a little study that I love sharing. Home Price Expectation Survey. This is from the third quarter of 2015. Pretty fresh information. And this is 100 economists that come out and share these results. And I love to share them with you because I'm a simple guy, but I can read pretty well. Maybe not. January, potential growth in family wealth over the next 4 years based solely on increased home equity. And I believe they use a median family home price of about $200,000 or $250,000. So $250,000 based on the Home Price Expectation Survey. If it's January 2016, January 2017, it becomes $259,000. $284,000 by January of 2020. $284,000. $34,000 in projected growth. Let me ask you this simple question, because I'm a simple guy. What do you think your equity position will be in that house you're renting 5 years from now? I suggest not only will you not have any equity in it because you're renting, your payment's going to go up too. Just shared with you yesterday, my son got a note on his door because hasn't got his career completely underway yet. He's renting. $500 a month rent increase. $500 a month. Chat told you about a recent conversation in Orange County with the California Apartment Association president, chapter president for here. Orange County, 92% occupancy in rental properties. 92% occupancy. Basically, that's full occupancy. Because if somebody moved out the beginning of September, it's going to take a little bit of time to get that property rehabbed, painted, carpeted, cleaned in time for somebody else to move into it. So the rents are going to continue to go up. We're continuing to build household formations. Get out there and find a property now. That's why you should stop renting today and buy. I'm not even talked about interest rates yet. That's the Real-Time Real Estate segment brought to you by the VIP Hero Program. Scott DeRosa, he is an expert in real estate. I used to like to use the word guru, Scott, just because you know what happens is I found out whenever you call somebody an expert, people want to try and punch holes in their commentary. Instead of the guru, they basically, oh yeah, he's a guru. I guess we can go with that.
I like that.
Right?
Yeah, that works well for me.
Works well. Okay, so we're going to call you the guru instead of the expert. What do you think? Am I somewhat on track with the idea of renting versus buying?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned something about the interest rates. We haven't talked about that yet, but they're historically low right now. And property values are going up. Just in the local Inland Empire where I am at, in the last 2 years, I've seen an approximate 32% increase in home values.
32% in 2 years.
Yeah, that's significant.
That's beautiful. And when you say 32% in home values, I'm just guessing. Simple, I'll ask you the question. How many of those people paid cash for their houses 2 years ago? Small percentage?
Small percentage, yes.
I mean, I'm not looking for a real number.
Yeah. Let me get my booklet out.
It's probably a pretty small percentage. So if they put 10% down, that means that 32% is actually going to be multiplied by a factor of 9 because of the leverage.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
So their return on cash is going to be that much more significant than what I would suggest. At 16% a year, any stockbroker would be thrilled to be able to come out with that number, right?
I would think so, yes.
I mean, most of them want to project that they're going to do 10%, and that's an aggressive number.
Right. So it's an excellent opportunity for the common person to be forced to save money, building equity in their home, and then utilize it if they're going to transition or upgrade or, you know.
So let me ask you this other question though. You're in the Inland Empire. Is there an abundance of properties on the market? Are they selling quickly if somebody prices them properly?
If they're affordable housing and they're priced correctly, then yes, they move within a week and a half.
Week and a half.
Yeah, if they're priced correctly. And
sure.
It's affordable housing. If you get into affordable housing, in my opinion, for our area is still in the range of around 350 to 400,000.
Okay.
Okay. You get into the properties that are over 500,000, which require a jumbo loan. Excuse me, a jumbo loan. Then of course that's a little bit different story. They stay a little bit longer. It's a different type of buyer with a different type of financial background.
Yeah, it's a little different sophistication. But when you most people we talk about with real estate as being an illiquid asset. But when you start talking about a property priced properly in the affordable price range, selling in a couple of weeks, that's fairly liquid.
Yes.
You know, so and one of the things that we've got some reports on, and I'm going to share these numbers, the difference between perception and reality. There's a lot of people out there that have really thought about the idea that they're living in 2009 as opposed to 2015. They think that, you know, I can't buy that bigger house. I know I've had a baby or two in the last 5 years, but I can't buy that bigger house. We've got to squeeze stay right where we are because I just don't have any equity. I can't move. And the fact of the matter is we're seeing numbers here. This comes out from Fannie Mae, pretty reputable source.
Right.
That the actual reality, people think that they have less than 20% equity, right? But the reality, there's a 32% swing in the people that have way more than 20%, as opposed to think that they have 20%, right? So
that makes sense to me. Yeah, absolutely.
So here's the question that I want to pose to you, and maybe it's a little challenge to those of you who may be listening. What do you think about doing some research? And here's the research that I suggest you need to do. You need to send me a copy of your most recent mortgage statement. If you're in the Inland Empire, I'm going to take that statement and I'm going to do a little bit of research on it, but I'm going to forward it to Scott. And I'm going to say, Scott, is it worth your time? Are you able to help our audience? If somebody sends you a mortgage statement, can you tell them maybe 10 minutes time what their property is worth and maybe help them out with finding a new piece of property, maybe marketing their property,
right,
and finding them something bigger or more appropriate for their family?
Absolutely. I do it all the time. In fact, I think the realtor is a key criteria for the homeowner to get so the homeowner gets educated as to what they have in value with their property, what they can do to improve it for upgrading if they want to into a larger home or whatever. The realtor plays a key part in educating the homeowner and bringing them up to date as to what they need to do.
And that's the key thing, and that's why I love the realtors that come in and chat with you, is it's not about them selling your house for their realtor's benefit. It's about educating you so you can do what's right for your family. That's a simple, right? I mean, that's what if you're gonna, I'm gonna share this again. I'm straightforward. There are realtors out there that are transactional. They probably do a half of one transaction a year. Maybe they do one transaction a year. They're in it for the commission. They might even be rebating a commission. They are not the professional. They were able to pass a test.
Right. Or I'd even say the ones that are having to hit quotas for their upper bosses, and they're not focused on the client, it's focused on them and trying to satisfy their boss.
Right. And the idea of what you just said, it's about educating you, our consumers, right, our community. And that's the passion that I bring with what I do every morning here, is bringing education, right? I mean, how could we look at a statistic like this and people don't know that they've got equity? So they're putting kids in a one-bedroom house.
Right.
Right?
And then even getting creative as to how they can make an offer that would best fit their family budget and so forth, to where it's a win for them, as well as still getting their offer accepted by the seller when they're competing against multiple offers.
That's a big thing right now also. If you're talking about properties that are selling in a week and a half, 2 weeks, generally that's going to be multiple offers. How do you win that battle? And that's what you need a professional for.
Correct.
Structuring the offer, finding out what what his needs are. I mean, you might be able to get an offer accepted at a lower price if you're able to find out what the seller's needs are. Maybe it's not the cash they need. Maybe they need it out quick.
That's true. Or even just being creative with the numbers to where it has the appearance to the seller that, okay, this is a great deal. We got a strong buyer. The net appears to be what I want it to be. And maybe the buyer needs help with their closing costs to some degree. And so it's just a matter of strategically placing the numbers in the contract or in the offer that's going to look great to the seller and definitely help the buyer.
And that's all about having an experienced professional working for you. And I call it your household board of directors. Real simple. And we're going to have that with our area trusted professionals. Watch for that program coming out soon. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, more with both of our guests, Scott DeRosa, Kari Walker, and you. We don't want you to go anywhere. We're going to continue that. We're going to also talk about our date night presented by Reunion Kitchen and Drink. I got a gift card to give away there. And college tuition topping $50,000 on average. And the most expensive school in the country is right here in California. Reach me anytime. Our offer number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. Stay tuned. We will be back in just a few.
Of mortgage-free home ownership. What if your home was valued at $500,000? Are you aware that a free and clear home could be costing you $2,500 every month, $30,000 per year? The mortgage planners at the Siegel Lending Team would like to show you how you can own your home, generate tax-free income, and accumulate family wealth. You simply need to call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. By sending the team a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, the team will send you a no-obligation mortgage adoption plan. You be the judge if it's right for your family. Again, all you have to do is send the team a copy of your mortgage statement by email to map@ronsiegelradio.com or call today Ron Siegel 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporation in MLS 217037 and BCAL BRE number 018694552.
Ron Siegel Radio Date Night Trivia, presented by Reunion Kitchen and Drink. Friday, Ron will pose a question based on-air conversations during the prior 7 programs. The person to post the answer according to the guest conversation will win a date night package, including a dinner gift card for Reunion Kitchen and Drink. You might even be able to say hi to Ron when you visit Reunion Kitchen and Drink.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037 and DRE number 018694552.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel Lending Team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel Lending Team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel Lending Team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL lendingteam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio anytime. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Date night, Ron Siegel Radio date night trivia question presented by Reunion Kitchen and Drink. I like date night. Thank goodness my wife does too. We're going to use date night here. We're going down to solutions for change and evening to remember. But right now, I am going to give you a trivia question to see if maybe you want to go to Reunion Kitchen and Drink, get a couple movie tickets, Starbucks, all of that. If you have the correct answer, you need to be the third person to post the correct answer. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. If you were listening earlier this week, Phil Immel was the guest. The real estate guru mentioned a percentage of his luxury buyers paying cash for their new homes. Percentage of luxury buyers paying cash for their new homes. What was that percentage? You were the third person to post the correct answer, Ron Siegel Radio. Our friends at Reunion Kitchen and Drink have dinner for two, a gift card, and we've got a couple movie tickets and again some Starbucks that our guests bring in. That is our trivia question for this week. We'll do it again next Friday. Hope you're the third person to post that correct answer. Word on Wealth segment brought to you by Commerce for a Cause. I'm not going to spend a lot of time explaining their program. You can get that information. Just call me if you like giving money to charity and having somebody else pay for that money that you're giving to charity. Call me. Commerce for a Cause is a great organization to help with that. College tuition tops $50,000 on average in the United States. $50,000. Now I'll tell you the whole story in a minute. Harvey Mudd University, they are the most expensive. Tuition, room, and board, $67,255. Second, New York's Columbia University at $66,383. And the University of Chicago was third at almost $65,000. College costs spiked above $60,000 per year in 23 of the nation's 50 states. Yikes! You know, I am certainly glad that my kids are a little bit beyond that age group. And I've shared with you before that unfortunately, I can say this, President Bush is probably the most responsible for the increase in college tuitions. When they changed the bankruptcy laws and made it such that kids, our young people, can get a student loan and it's not dischargeable in bankruptcy, the colleges could go out and say, sign here, we'll give you the money, we're not going to do any due diligence, we don't care whether you can pay for it or not, because you can't discharge it. And it took away all responsibility from the colleges to do the right thing. They could go out there and charge the kids everything they wanted, kill them for the ability of buying a house, put them in debt for the rest of their life. That one simple change, if they would change that law that the student loans are dischargeable in bankruptcy, you watch how fast these student loans, the debt drops, because these kids will have to be able to show a way of repaying it, and there'll be recourse on those loans. Simple solution to a huge, huge problem. That's the Word on Wealth segment, again, brought to you by Commerce for a Cause. I will get off my soapbox on that subject right now, but I'll bring it up again some other day. Fun stuff. You know, we were chatting during the break with our guests, Kari Walker, Alzheimer's Association, Scott DeRosa, Hot Properties Real Estate and Property Management, about a mission that I have, and it seems that both of you share the same mission, and it's that of education. And Scott, you made a comment, and I do multitask, but I am listening to what's going on in the studio. You made a comment that you don't have to do advertising because your clients are referring you because of that foundation of your business of educating, as opposed to being a transactional person dealing with a commission. You're
Right.
looking out what's best for them.
It's all about the client.
And that comes across. You don't have to tell people that. They sense it. When you're doing the right thing with the right heart, I believe, people will sense that, and they are attracted to it. And I think that's why they refer you a lot of business.
And it's humbling too. I mean, I appreciate it when that happens. And yeah, you're absolutely right. When they feel as though they're being taken care of and they're in good hands and they can actually trust you to be the expert where they're not an expert in, they're going to tell their friends and family and boast about you.
And that's my opinion again, is that's the best kind of boasting is when somebody else does it. You know, I think that obviously a huge percentage of America is enthralled right now with Donald Trump. He's saying the things, whether you like him or not, he's saying the things that many people are thinking about. I would hate the idea of him becoming president, because then we'd have to listen to him boast about himself for 4 years every day. Right? I mean, does anybody really want to hear me boast about me? Right? I mean, it's horrible.
Right.
And that's basically what you're saying is number one, it's more effective, and it's more flattering when somebody else recognizes the work that you're doing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. When it comes from a third party or a different source, then it seems more genuine too.
You can probably have a better time at your work too, because when you're not having to go out there and hunt for people to work with.
Oh yeah. I've been in the offices where that occurs, and that's not fun, and you're not enjoying what you're doing, and you feel, I don't know, the pressure and everything else is just, it takes away from the job.
Absolutely. And then you start thinking about maybe the wrong things.
Correct.
Right. You can,
you're in it for the wrong reasons at that point too.
Right. I mean, I'm assuming that you have no problem telling somebody that this property isn't right for you.
Multiple times.
Right.
And they depend on that. Yeah, absolutely. There's been many, just even recently, where I've took a client, I would say last week, and we viewed homes, and 3 of them they were kind of excited about because they were affordable and it was a young family. And I said, no, you're not buying here. The neighborhood, and I gave them a list of reasons as to why it was not a good fit for them, regardless of the affordability for them. So I said, we just keep on looking until we get to the right location and right property.
And that's exactly why we like having people like yourself come in here. Again, if you want to meet Scott, give me a call. Like I said, I know people in a lot of these different areas. And one of my litmus tests of somebody that I'll refer to that I'll allow them to be one of our area trusted partners is just that philosophy, the idea of educating people, putting them in the place that's right for them, helping them accomplish what their goals and objectives are. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you coming in. Again, if you want to meet Scott DeRosa, give me a call, 800-306-1990. I will put you in touch with him. Scott's information is on our Ron Siegel Radio on Facebook as well. And we also want to certainly talk about the same thing with you, Kari, because that's really the mission of the Alzheimer's Association, I would think, is educating people.
It is. There's it's really true that you don't know what you don't know. And especially when it comes to people you care about or people you have even negative relationships with in your family, receiving information about, directive information about what to do and how to be involved in their care, that can get kind of sticky. People really need to know you care before they care what you know.
Exactly.
So we, believe it or not, I was really amazed working at one of our walks. I was standing at our programs and services table, and we give out flowers, pinwheel flowers, to each of the participants in the walk. And the color of the pinwheel flower is based on how the disease impacts their life. If they've lost somebody, they have a purple flower. If they are a caregiver currently, they have a yellow flower. And if they're just a general supporter of the cause, it's orange, and blue if they have the disease. All that to say, I thought I was going to be pretty savvy, and if I saw people approaching my table with purple and yellow flowers, I thought, well, certainly these people are connected with us, and they know and have been taking advantage of all of our free programs and services for families. Ron, it's so sad that the majority didn't even know about all the things that we're able to offer for families: care, support, guidance, completely free of charge, and you can remain anonymous if you choose to. They had no idea that we did that. Even at our own walk, the perception, I believe, was that we were majorly raising money for research, and that was it.
Wow. And the education coming up October 2nd?
Absolutely.
Tell us quickly about that again. We've got about a half a minute.
It's our Healthy Brain Aging Conference, and we'll learn what we can do to keep our brain healthy that might possibly reduce our risk of Alzheimer's disease. And even if we do have a diagnosis, how to navigate that more successfully. The other part of the conference that we partner with UCI Mind, Memory Impairment and Neurological Disorder, you'll come away with a lot of resources, even more education about where to turn and who to turn to.
October 2nd, 7 a.m., 5 p.m., Irvine Marriott Hotel. If you want more information, again, I can put you in touch with Kari and the association. Go to our Facebook page. Very simple to find, Ron Siegel Radio on Facebook. And be sure to set that first radio preset button to come back here every day to join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A very big thanks to Paul, who's engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions, call me anytime. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember my mantra, make a lot of money, help a lot of people, have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.
It's only 12:30, but I don't care. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.